stuff. All right. So anyway, today we're going to get started with this crazy story that I just read, and I thought it would be worth talking about because it also has an embedded lesson in this discussion, and basically it has to do with this woman who could best be called kind of like an Airbnb Karen. And this woman, her name, I have her name in front of me. Let me dig it up. She is Elizabeth Hirschhorn. Hirschhorn. And Elizabeth did something really interesting. So she got an Airbnb. She did a long term rental in an Airbnb for 6 months. And during that time, she just decided, I like this place so much that I'm going to stay. She just said, hey, I don't really think I have to actually move. I'm going to just stay here forever. And she won't leave. And when the landlord asked her to leave, she said, well, give me $100,000. So this lady actually has demanded that she get $100,000 to leave this guy's Airbnb. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. But there've been similar situations though, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But as I get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, I'm using kind of a different platform space, different Wi-Fi. Let me know if you hear me. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me okay. Give me a quick yes to let me know that my audio is coming through okay. Also, a reminder, you can get this podcast on Spotify, also on Apple. And also, just in case you guys ever want to take a look at my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, you can get a copy at drboycebooks.com. But also, guess what? It's going to be on Audible. Yes. Y'all asked for it, so I'm doing it. I went ahead and we bit the bullet. We made the investment, and that book will be appearing on Audible. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks. I will keep you guys posted. And if you want free stuff from the Black Business School, we give out tons and tons of free stuff. So don't ever think that you need money to come hang out with us. Don't ever think that when I say intelligent Black people, that means you have to have degrees and wealth and all that. No, you just have to want something for your life. You have to want to be better. That's what our motto is in the Black Business School. As long as you value intelligence, that's all we ask. You don't have to be there yet. We'll help you get there. So anyway, right. So by the way, so if you want free stuff from me, like stock profit alerts, a list of AI stocks that I really like, just text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. Okay, so here's what People Magazine says. They said that according to a report from the LA Times, Elizabeth Hirschhorn's Airbnb stay at the property was supposed to end in April of 2022, but she refuses to move out unless the host, Sasha Jovanovic, pays her a relocation fee of $100,000. The reason for the bizarre situation is LA housing laws. A judge has ruled that Jovanovic has no legal reason to evict Hirschhorn from the home located in Crestwood Hills, a neighborhood of Brentwood. The city recently introduced a just cause ordinance, which requires a landlord to have a legal reason to evict a tenant or else pay for relocation assistance. So what she's basically saying is that she needs $100,000 in order to move. Give me a yes or no. How many of y'all think that that's reasonable? How many of y'all think that it costs $100,000 to move? What do y'all think? Wow, Robert Abdullah says, you're the third baddest Black men in America, Farrakhan, Prime, and Dr. Boyce. I take that as a hell of a compliment, man. I appreciate that. And actually, I love Farrakhan. I lived around the corner from him for many years in Chicago. And I'm friends with the minister, and he's one of my greatest heroes. Also, Coach Prime. I like Coach Prime because I love something. Coach Prime said one thing that really made me say, okay, I get this dude. He was talking about how he wants to raise his players to be fine young men. He said, I want them to be husbands and fathers, not baby daddies. I want them to own property. I want them to be educated. I want them to be successful. And that's what you need. You need successful Black men, not no little Black boys running around here. So that's what I love about Coach Prime. Another thing he said was he talked about his fathers, both of his fathers being, one of his fathers being a drug addict, his stepfather being an alcoholic. And that's why he does not mess with drugs and alcohol. He's smart enough to know that drugs and alcohol is the number one way that they destroy Black men. And the fact that it's the number one way to destroy Black men is the reason that they promote drugs and alcohol in hip hop. They promote it in hip hop because they want Black men drunk. They want Black men high. They want Black men sitting out, laying out like bums on the street. They don't want you focused. They don't want you winning. They don't want you showing up intelligent. They don't want you showing up educated. Give me a yes if you understand this. If you understand warfare, that's what they want. That's warfare. Let's just get the enemy drunk, because ain't nobody never been intimidated by a drunk ass dangerous drug addict. It says ain't nobody, you're not a threat if you are a clown, if you are uneducated, if you are unprepared, if you are high and drunk all the time. Give me a yes if you get this. I hope somebody else understands this because if you don't get it, then I feel sorry for you. I don't hate you. I just feel bad for you. But anyway, let me stop. I digress. Let me come back to bring it back home, boys. Calm down. Bring it back home. But that's how I feel. I'm very passionate about that. And I really need us to understand that because my father, just like Coach Prime, my biological father was on drugs. The man was a bum. He was a loser. He had no respect from it, even from his own children that lived in the house with him. I did not. My brother and sister lived with him. They didn't have no respect for that man. So and I hate saying it, but it's true. Whatever. And my other father, struggled with heroin when he came back from Vietnam. So I related to Coach Prime. They've been planting drugs in your community for many, many decades to destabilize you and keep you off your game. So black men, if you're smart, stay away from all of that stuff that will mess you up. That's all I got to say. I'm done. Thank you for listening. Let's move forward. All right. So hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. So we're talking about this lady who won't move out of her Airbnb. She's actually, ironically, you know what's crazy? This lady who won't move out of the Airbnb, who demanded $100,000 to move, which is crazy. She actually went to Harvard. Isn't that funny? She went to Harvard. Can y'all believe that? And this Harvard-educated squatter, it turns out that she's done similar things. So what she had done, apparently, according to these reports, is she filed certain I don't know if you say suits or whatever against the landlord, saying that this does not meet the building code and this place is not rentable or whatever. It's a mansion though. It's a really nice place, but apparently he built the shower without a permit or something. So she's using that loophole to stay in the property. And so again, you can think about that. Think of that what you want, right? Either she's brilliant or she's terrible or both. And so here is something else that they pulled up. This is in the Daily Mail. They said she also tried to sue a LA couple over a car crash. Unearthed court filings obtained by dailymail.com revealed that Elizabeth Hirschhorn is a serial litigant, so she loves to file lawsuits, who had also tried to sue a couple over a 2017 car crash in LA. In her lawsuit filed 2 years later, she sought damages from the couple, despite having no proof of injuries. The case, which meandered on until March 2022, ended with it being thrown out despite multiple rounds of discovery and motion. She's 55. She's dubbed America's worst Airbnb guest after it was revealed that she has squatted in a guest house in Brentwood for over 540 days and countersued the owner when he tried to evict her. Now, dailymail.com has discovered another case filed in June 2019 over a July 2017 traffic accident, one in LA over an unpaid $19,000 Amex credit card bill, and a second in Oakland where she saw her which saw her refuse to leave a 2-bedroom cottage she has sublet. So she's done this before. She squatted before. Court papers revealed that as in this case, she cited ill health and COVID-19 regulations as reasons for her staying put in the Oakland property, despite paying no rent to the owners. So first things first, it seems to me that what this is saying is that if you ever become a landlord, you got to check the backgrounds of the people that you bring into your property, right? You cannot assume that the landlord has the power. There are some cities that unfortunately have laws that they claim are to defend the tenants, but many of you who are trying to own property, stuff like that, and rent that stuff out, sometimes you can end up in a situation where your tenant can screw you. That's the point. Sometimes your tenant can screw you, even if you're doing fair business and doing your best to be helpful. And so this woman, who is a Harvard graduate who loves to file tons and tons of lawsuits, appears to be a person who is kind of pushing the issue and just making life miserable for the landlord. And so what I did was I pulled up a quick list in case you ever want to own property. How many of you at some plan to own property, maybe rent property? Give me a yes in the chat if you would like to do that. I mean, I encourage you to do that because that's, or I encourage you to own something, right? You own something. Start with owning shares of stock. Every black person should own things, right? Every black person, that should just be our code, our B1 code. We own everything that we can. And now remember though, that when you are the owner, it's a different set of problems than when you were the landlord or the consumer or the employee all the time, right? So when you switch from being the landlord, the consumer, when you switch from being the renter, the consumer, and the employee, and you switch over and you become the landlord and the producer and the boss, you run into a different set of problems. Like Diddy said, more money, more problems. And so the question in America, and I want you to really process this, is really simple. Do you want to have poor people problems, or do you want to have rich people problems? What do y'all think? Give me a yes or no. I don't know. Or answer that. What do you think? What do you prefer? Do you prefer poor people problems or rich people problems? Because let me just tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've been a rich person for a long time. I'm not gonna hide that. I'm not ashamed of that. There are problems that come with being rich. There are. Just like there are problems that come with being poor. Poor people aren't the only people that have problems. Now, I'm not gonna say that rich people problems are worse than poor people problems. I'm not saying that at all. That would sound weird and elitist, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to be honest with you. But I'm just going to tell you the truth. Like when you get wealthy, when you start playing the game, it's like a football game, right? If you're behind in the game, then you got the problem with trying to catch up. But if you're ahead in the game, you've got another problem of trying to maintain the lead. Or if you're the number one ranked team in the country, Georgia, and you're playing against a team that's not number one in the country, then the team that's not number one has the problem of saying, how do we beat Georgia? We might get our butt kicked today. Georgia's problem is the expectations are super high. Everybody's coming at us. We can't, if we mess up, get dogged in the media, we have to protect and maintain something. Right. So what I want you to really understand is, and this is something I don't see a lot of people talking about. I want to kind of explain this every day. I've been doing that for 30 years. You have to kind of decide which kinds of problems are you going to have, and never assume that there's a position you can be in where you have no problems. Now, I personally admit, I think rich people problems, I'd rather have rich people problems than poor people problems. However, sometimes there are scenarios where rich people problems can be worse than poor people problems if things really go wrong. Like, so for example, let's say you own a business and you've got 30 employees who all depend on you to pay the bills, right? Got it? You listening? All right. And let's say that you have a bad month and the money doesn't come in. And so you owe $100,000 in payroll, or let's say 200,000 in payroll, but you only made 50 grand from the business. Well, then you go to the bank, right? And you say, hey, bank, I need you to loan me some money so I can make payroll. And let's say that because you're black, because you'll still be, just in case y'all don't know this, you'll still be black even when you get rich. Being rich does not change your skin color. I'm wearing a green shirt, but my skin is not green. And so because you're black, we're not going to loan you anything, because we don't loan money to black people and black businesses, because black people should be doing more appropriate things like playing basketball and telling jokes and becoming rappers, right? So you can't get a loan. So here's what happens. I want y'all to hear this. So then you go back to your employees, your friends, and maybe some of them feel like they're your friends, and you say, I would pay you that $150,000 in payroll if I had it, but unfortunately the business had a bad month, so I don't got it. I don't have it. I'm going to do my best, but I don't have it. Do you think that those people are going to be like, oh, okay, we get it, man. We understand. We know you're usually good for it, so it's okay. It's not a problem. No, it becomes, you mother ucker, you old insensitive jerk, you're a prick, and you screw people over, you're a scammer because you don't pay your bills and you don't right? And you did your best. Like, you could have paid everybody 100 weeks in a row, 200, 500 weeks in a row, right? But that one time when you can't pay people, everyone will get mad at you, right? So with that power comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure to deliver for lots and lots of people. So my point is to say that I don't want to ever give you the impression that being rich means you have no problems. No matter what situation you're in this country, you're going to have lots of problems regardless. Now, here's why: when you're a kid, or when your kids are young, you put them in scenarios where they can learn how to problem solve, because that's what happens. Life throws you problems, and a problem solver can figure it out, right? They say, okay, well, let me see how I can work through this situation and put it together without panicking and freaking out. That's where being a mathematician kind of helps me, because problems don't scare me. Problems don't make me think it's the end of the world. Problems make me sit back and say, okay, let me meditate on it. Let me really think hard about that. Let me go talk to some people and figure out a solution, right? So if you want to be successful in life, are y'all hearing me? Give me a yes if you're hearing this. I hope that this is helpful to you. Learn how to be a problem solver, and teach your kids to be problem solvers. Teach them to be critical thinkers. Games like chess, stuff like that, are excellent for learning strategy and problem solving ability. And then also things like therapy and whatever and learning psychology and conflict resolution goes a very long way. That probably goes further than business school when you talk about wealth and stuff like that. All right, so anyway, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. Don't forget, the All Black National Convention is happening October 20th in Atlanta. If you'd like to join us in Atlanta, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's when all the B1 people get together. The B1 family gets together for a big family reunion where it's happening in Atlanta, and you guys can join us. It's allblacknationalconvention.com. So we were talking about this squatter, this Harvard educated lady. I guess you can call her Airbnb Karen, who basically isn't moving out of the place that she moved into. She's refusing to move, and I don't like it because she's done this before. I think it's entirely unfair. I think it's something to look out for. And let me give you all some pros and cons of being an Airbnb owner. Have you ever, give me a yes if you've ever thought about doing Airbnb to make extra money? Has anybody ever thought about doing Airbnb? Well, remember, just like I told you, that there are rich people problems and poor people problems. So hopefully one day, I pray that you have a lot of the rich people problems, and I also pray that you have the patience and capacity to solve them. So here are some pros of renting Airbnb. I pulled up this list. Number one, you can make substantial income. That's the number one reason people get into it, because it's a great way to generate cash flow. Number two is flexible use. Owners can also use the property for personal use, right? So you got these properties that you can use on your own if you want. Dynamic pricing. You have the flexible ability to adjust prices based on demand, right? When people demand the place, you can charge more. When they don't want the place, you charge less. Global reach. You can go around the world and make money. Community and support. The Airbnb host community and company resources offer support, insights, and tips for managing properties and navigating challenges. So Airbnb within itself, to some extent, is kind of a university, which I think is great. Here are the cons of investing in Airbnb. Remember, I told you everything has a dark side. Number one, regulatory challenges. Some cities have very strict regulations and even prohibitions against short-term rentals. So you got to look into the law before you get an Airbnb. Number two, management intensity. Managing an Airbnb property can be time-consuming, demanding, and dealing with guest turnover, maintenance, and customer service. Income inconsistency. Income from an Airbnb can be inconsistent and seasonal, unlike traditional rentals, which typically provide steady monthly income. Increased wear and tear. Frequent guest turnover can result in more wear and tear on the property. Lord Jesus, think about this. Ain't nobody gonna love your property the way you do, especially if they're only gonna be there for 24 hours. That's the real deal. Market saturation. A lot of people don't talk about this, but Airbnbs in some markets have become incredibly oversaturated. So if you think about doing Airbnb, you got to research all those topics to make sure that you don't put yourself in a scenario where you have this property and nobody's renting it, and you're still paying it. Remember, you have what they call a duration imbalance. This is what got banks into trouble, like Silicon Valley Bank. They had a duration imbalance. What does that mean? What that means in finance is that you have a scenario where your income is unstable and variable, but your expenses are fixed. Your expenses, oh, they're coming every month. Every month that mortgage payment is coming. Every month you got to pay, that bill, those bills for that place. That property breaks down, that bill is coming to you. That's very consistent. That's not going to vary very much. But your income, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So you've got to pay the expenses even if your income drops. That's a lot of pressure. Well, one solution they do in finance, they teach in finance, and I taught my students in Syracuse, is something they call income smoothing. Income smoothing is where you minimize the duration effect by making sure that when times are good, you store your nuts for the winter. You don't overexpend. You don't spend every penny when times are good, so that you starve when times are bad. You don't want to have it be feast or famine. You want to have a balance, right? So that means if I have a really good month, then I'm going to put money to the side, because I know that winter is always coming. Shout out to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, they used to say all the time, winter is coming, winter is coming, winter is coming. So economically speaking, if you're a business owner, I encourage you to understand that winter is always coming. That time is always coming where the good times ain't going to be rolling as well as they used to before, and you got to be sturdy. And there's various ways to keep yourself sturdy so that when things go bad, you are ready. Give me a guess if you understand what I'm saying. Give me a guess if this is making any sense to you guys. All right. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. My website is boycewatkins.com. There's a free training on my website called How to Make Money Without Working. Also, if you text the word stock to 31996, I would love to send you all a list of AI stocks that I like. This is totally free from the courtesy of the Black Business School. I also have a list of 20 side hustles you can do. You can start for less than $100. So if you text the word stock to 31996, I'll send you that for free. I'll also send you a free copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. And I'll also even text you that training, How to Make Money Without Working. So just text the word stock to 31996. And you can go to drboycebooks.com if you'd like to take a look at any of my books, Black American Money, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, etc. I'm getting them all on Audible soon, so you'll be able to do that. Also, this podcast is on Spotify. So go to Spotify or Apple, and you can find me there. All right, let me read a few things. Now, we were talking about this squatter, this lady that moved in and won't move out. Let me give you, I looked up some ways to kind of deal with squatters. So let me give you this list very, very quickly. Here are some ways, if you ever become a landlord, these are some ways to deal with with sneaky tenants who will use the law against you. All right, number one, understand the local laws. Make sure you understand what kind of place you're renting in because the laws are different in every city. Number two, verify their status. Determine whether or not they're truly a squatter or if they have any legal tenancy rights, right? So there's a difference in somebody squatting on you who has the right to be there versus somebody who doesn't have the right to be there. Number three, communicate with the squatter. Reach out and try to resolve the situation amicably. Sometimes just talking about it can make things better. You have to explain that they're occupying your property unlawfully and request that they vacate immediately. Number four, serve an eviction notice. If communication fails and the squatter refuses to leave, consult a lawyer and serve them with a formal eviction notice. Number five, file a lawsuit. If the squatter still refuses to leave, file a lawsuit against them for unlawful occupation or trespassing. Consult with an attorney to ensure the legal process is followed correctly. Number six, obtain a court order. If the court order rules in your favor, you will receive it. If the court rules in your favor, you will receive a court order granting you possession of the property. Make sure to follow all necessary legal procedures and deadlines outlined by the court. Number seven, enforce the court order. Coordinate with local law enforcement to enforce the court order and remove the squatter from your property. This process may involve a physical eviction, which should be handled by the appropriate authorities. So don't go in there with your homeboys and grab them, snatch them up, and drag them out the front door. That'll only make things worse. You got to handle it with the police. Let the police do the thugging. I mean, they're the biggest gang in the city anyway, so you might as well let them earn their paycheck. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and I'll check back in with you guys a little bit later. And also, again, boycewatkins.com is my website. I would love to support you in your quest to build wealth and become economically successful. So if you'd like to get some free stuff from me, go to boycewatkins.com. Also, text the word stock to 31996, and I'll send you some stuff immediately. We will get you on that wealth journey and make you successful. So God bless you. Have a wonderful day, guys. I will see you soon. Take care now. Peace.